Parkour, improvise, and teamwork are some of the ways to always win on Sweet Thieves. The problem I see with Thieves is the paranoid use of the invisibility mechanic. Use it when you're about to enter a nest and see a guard there, or if you need to distract somebody. Otherwise, spend most of your time running. Newbies will always go invisible when they're holding a candy and try to slowly walk back to the base, but no one is near them. Being indecisive and paranoid about being found is as bad as getting caught. Another mistake newbies will make is that they'll free one person who's in jail rather than wait for 4 people to be in jail. This is a huge waste because the button has a massive 30-second cooldown. Wait until at least 3 people are in jail to use it, but always keep an eye out for how many people are in jail because you could be the last guy and not know it. Parkouring is so underrated in this map and people need to learn it. Since most of the guardians are guarding the candies and are generally on the floor, by having a height advantage and with the right timing, you'll be able to swoop in and steal the candies. Even if the guardians has blocked the routes, by coming in high, if you have a candy, you can still get to the high ground by using the ramps to climb up the blocks. A route that I usually take is I will try to make my way to the yellow barriers. You can do this without ever touching the floor. Or if you have someone chasing you, you can still jump on the smaller blocks and even the bigger blocks. Learning routes like this is crucial to winning as a thief. Try not to climb up blocks, but rather go to the middle and jump on the pink barrier and then dive onto the yellow wall. Alternatively, however, if you choose to go to the left side, jump directly up on the pinball flipper and then jump dive onto the small block. Then run to the other blocks. My recommendation would be to run and jump around the entire blocks. Just practice parkouring as much as possible and get comfortable with the idea of it. You can also jump up on the small block as well. The timing is a little tricky and you will need some momentum to do it, but it's possible. If you're holding a candy, you can't jump on the small block directly. You'll need to use a ramp. However, jump diving is the safest way to get on the block. Most guardians will try to chase you on the ground, so if you have a height advantage, it's like stealing candy from a baby. If you see someone below you, stop parkouring and go invisible and wait for them to leave. Learning to be nimble and agile will help you greatly and cannot be understated. You can also parkour from one side to the other. Make your way to the yellow wall and then jump to the ramp and then jump to the other side. Parkouring is something that's so underrated in the map. Parkour often and get comfortable with it. This skill will help you even if you're a guardian. Another fatal mistake I see people doing is that they don't chuck or throw the candies at all. They just carry it all over to the basket while being invisible. Chucking or throwing the candies is especially useful in the zone with the water. Just throw the candies to where the donuts are and your team will know what you're doing. Or if your teammate is close to the basket, throw the candy to them and they'll handle it. In general, throwing a candy to your teammate who doesn't have a candy but is next to the basket is a habit that all team players need to develop. And while on the topic of throwing, since the baskets are curved, you don't have to ride up to it in order for the candy to go in. You can just jump and throw the candy and it'll go in eventually. A strat that I found that works well is that you walk and right when you're in the pink mat, you jump dive and let go of your grab and it'll go straight into the basket. You just have to be in this position though. If you see a teammate without a candy and you have one, just throw it to them and hope they'll grab it and take it to your basket. Don't waste time by going to the basket, just throw the candies and move on. People really underestimate how powerful it is to turn invisible. If someone is chasing you, go to another barrier and turn invisible, or parkour up a block and turn invisible until the enemy is gone. Sneak around a block and steal an unguarded candy. Use being invisible while up on a block to see if your teammate will distract the guards, or jump around the blocks while turning invisibility on and off. However, don't go invisible while someone is directly behind you. It won't work and they'll assume you're right next to them and you can leave yourself wide open. And even if it does work, it won't work all the time. So many potential plays you can do once you learn how invisibility works and what the limitations of it are. Just practice going invisible whenever you get thieves and just do risky plays. The big flippers are a great obstacle to use as a getaway. Use it whenever someone is chasing you or if you need to get to a side, but the chances of you ragdolling is very high, so make sure no one is near it, otherwise you could get caught. I would recommend against using the flipper at the very start of the game. If you use it correctly, you can even get to the center and then parkour off the fence to the other side. Chain your combos if you will. Occasionally go near the center and see if you can find any guards. Turn invisible, stay there and press on the button whenever you see 3 or 4 people in jail. If you do see guards on the button, however, see if one side of the ramp is free. Or another thing is you could stay invisible near the button and wait for the right time to strike. This is very situational, so be careful with this. Make sure to free your team if 4 people are stuck, because if 6 or more people are in jail, 3 or 4 guards will try to protect the button and it'll be near impossible to press it. In regards to the stage zone, I recommend using parkour to enter the stage zone and then jump down and go invisible if need be. You think you can jump up from the center, but you can't. You will need to jump dive up. Also be careful of the terrain, you could get stuck potentially and be caught. Make sure you have enough momentum to make the jump. While incredibly hard to do in the heat of the moment, checking behind you for any potential guardians and in general being aware of your surroundings is critical. Being patient means waiting on top of a box and see if your teammate will create a distraction, or turn invisible while on top of the wall and wait for the guard to leave, or slowly walking behind a guard grabbing a candy. Also being patient means knowing when to charge in or not. For the most part, you should never charge in unless you have 3 or so thieves with you, or if there's no no one protecting a nest. If 4 or more people are already at a zone, you don't need to be there. Or if you see a highly guarded zone, move on to another one. Knowing when to pick your fights is critical in this map, as thieves and guardians. If you happen to be a guardian, right when the match starts and when there's no one in jail, I recommend you go to the button and press it to start the 30-second cooldown, so that when you do catch thieves, they can't press the button because it's on a 30-second cooldown. And if you're lucky, there can even be 1 or 2 thieves on the button already, so those can be some easy captures. Make sure to patrol some of the potential corridors that thieves may come in from. 1 or 2 guardians should guard a zone, meaning you don't move and just camp there, but do move around to intimidate the potential thieves. It's okay to let 1 candy go, but it isn't okay to let 3 candies go because you think you can catch 1 guy. Know your limits and let your teammates try to catch them instead. If you're guarding the stage zone, use this as a chance to practice parkouring from one barrier to another. This in general will help you with parkouring. Make sure to turn back around so no one steals your candies. Also, check the 2 candies at the top of the stage. Thieves will usually sneak around the corner and snag those candies since the guards usually forget about them. If you're playing with randoms and not in voice comms, it's hard to tell if they need help. If you see the thieves getting a ton of points fast, but your side is fine, it usually means that the other side isn't protected well, or that all of the guards abandoned their post, or all of the other thieves teamed up and bum rushed the other side and are overwhelmed. You can either stay where you are or roam around and try to catch potential thieves. It's a hard choice to make, but I recommend staying your ground and maybe move when your team has caught 3 or 4 people at least. Camping on the button and catching would-be thieves is a strat you can try. Just orbit while holding your grab button so that you can catch thieves who may come from one side or the other. And when you and your team catch 6 people or more than half of the thieves, 2 or 3 people should be on the button. 1 should be on one side of the ramp and the other should be on the other side of the ramp, as well as 1 should be on the center. Just form a complete wall and move around to intimidate the thieves. This plan is almost foolproof but can only work if 6 thieves are captured. Parkouring isn't only for thieves. If you're guarding the box area, try parkouring on the boxes to make thieves run the other way, and just parkour around the section and drop by near the candies and grab any would-be thieves who may be sneaking around. If a thief is trying to parkour above you, you parkour back and chase them away if possible. You could use parkouring to enter the water base and catch a ton of unsuspecting thieves. You can also use parkouring to cut people off. Parkouring is such an essential skill, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it just cannot be bloody understated. Try kicking the candies into the water in a corner to make it hard for thieves to get it. Move the boxes to block potential entrance routes if you're guarding the candies there. You can try orbiting around the candies to signal to thieves that you shouldn't come here. Anything to draw them away from you. If you need to chase a guy, try and see if you can cut them off. Don't chase behind them because you'll always be behind them unless they trip up somehow. And remember, teamwork is important as a guardian. So remember to help out your guards, whether it's by protecting their zone while they're gone or going to the center and staying on one side of the ramp while they're on the other side of the ramp. 2,000 subscribers is something I want to reach by the end of the year, so subscribe.